this chapter, we are going to talk about creating our own template suggestions. By default, Drupal provides you with a couple optional ones. So for our page content type, we could use the node.tpl.php, or we could also use node-page.tpl.php. So we're going to create another unique one. So the first thing I want to do is go into our preprocess functions for the node. So we're in our 960 robots underscore preprocess underscore node. So the first thing I want to do is do a check to see if we are looking at the page content type. So we're going to go ahead and do if $variables type equals page. That's the name of our content type. And in order to see what's available to us, we're going to use our KPR function and take a look at all of those options. So I'm going to refresh our front page. So our KPR has 56 elements in it. And as we're looking, we can see that node type is page. That's when we decided we wanted to call this. And we can scroll down to theme hook suggestions. You will see two template suggestions here. At the moment, Drupal is using the node TPL. If we wanted to, we could use a node page template, or even more specific, a node with the node ID template. So what we're looking at in this array, item 0 is node underscore page, where page is actually the content type. We can then dynamically replace that page with any content type. Something else to note is that the PHP version of these dynamic templates use the underscore, but when we actually create the template itself, it will use the dashes. So the syntax is a little bit different. When you're talking about this file in PHP code, you use underscores. When you actually create the file, that's when you use the dashes. Another thing to note is the order in which we are seeing these items listed under theme hook suggestions. Drupal is going to go ahead and look for the most specific hook suggestion first. So in this case, that is node ID 30. If there is a template for node ID 30, Drupal will use that instead of the default template for just node TPL. If there's not a node 30 template, it's going to go up one more level, a little bit more generalized, and look for the node content type. In this case, it's the node page template. And it's going to keep going up the ladder no matter how many items are in here, looking for the one that is most specific for the situation and that there actually is a template for. Now, these are only theme hook suggestions. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is going to be a template for that. In our theme, we don't actually have a template for node ID 30. We are using just the standard node TPL, and then we also do have the node article one. So we need to go ahead and add something to the bottom of this array so it's considered more specific. Our marketing department decided that every day of the week we need to celebrate. And so for each day of the week, we need unique templates for the page content type, whether it's the teaser format or the page format. So we're going to go ahead and create those. So we need to add our own Node Wednesday template theme suggestion to the array. We're going to use the syntax of the open and closed brackets. PHP reads this as, please add one more element to the array of theme hook suggestions. And we're going to call that node underscore Wednesday. Notice we're using here the underscore syntax as opposed to the dash syntax. That's because when we're talking about templates, we use underscores, but the templates themselves actually have the dashes. So when we go back to our site and clear cache, we should see this as another option for a template. Before we do that though, I want to take our KPR function and move that below our statement about adding in a new template suggestion. So we'll go ahead and hit save on that. We'll go back and refresh. And let's see if it's there. And you'll notice our theme hook suggestions now has 3 options. Our Node Wednesday is the last one. Now we could go ahead and say we want to suggest a template every single time there's a day of the week. So we could have in this list Node Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and make them all there. But I think what's probably going to be more ideal is for PHP to figure out what day today is and create a template addition to our theme hook suggestions dynamically. So let's go back to our code and figure that out. So let's see, let's make a variable called today. And we want to print the current day of the week. So we can use the PHP date function, and we are going to say that we want it in the format of long form Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Another thing we want to do is we want to make sure that it's all lowercase, that it's not capitalizing. So we'll use another PHP function called string to lower, and all that does is put everything down in lowercase. So the date function gets today's date, and we're telling it to print the long form day of the week. That's that lowercase l. And we're also saying we want it to be in lowercase. So now I can actually replace our Wednesday with today. So that means when a page is being loaded, Drupal's going to say, okay, is this the page content type? Yes. Wonderful. What's today's day of the week? Oh, it's Wednesday. It's Thursday. And then it says, great, we now need a new template suggestion that is node dash dash or node underscore underscore when we're actually talking about it, and that day of the week. So when I go back and do our KPR, it should actually be identical to what we originally saw since today is Wednesday. So let's go ahead and save. And we will refresh and take a look, make sure that that worked. And you can see, yes, Node Wednesday is still there. So now we've got this template suggestion. Let's go ahead and make a template. So we'll go back to our code, make a new file, and we need to paste in some code that makes it a node file. So what I've pasted here are the containing classes from the standard node.tpl.php, and then I went in and added in my special div to indicate that this is being called uniquely, and it just says, yippee, it's Wednesday. So let's go ahead and save this. And we are going to save this in the root of our 960 robots theme. And this is going to be node dash dash Wednesday .tpl.php. So we can go ahead and hit save. Now what I want to do is go back to our site. And before we clear our caches, I just want to look and see if I can predict where changes are going to happen. So we're looking at the home page, which has multiple content types displaying. The first one is an article. The About Us, that's a page, so that one actually should be affected. And then we have another article, and another article, and another article. Okay, so we should have one node on this page affected. So I'm going to go ahead and clear our caches. And it reloads in the background, and we can scroll, and you see our About Us page says, yippee, it's Wednesday. So I'm very, very pleased with that. However, I want to tweak this a little bit more to make it better. Right now, we have this hard-coded as yippee, it's Wednesday. What if we actually wanted this to be dynamic as well? So we can actually go ahead and go back into our template.php file, and inside, if it's a page, we can create a variable to be passed to the template. We can go ahead and say $variables day of the week, and that will equal $today. Excellent. So day of the week variable, I'm going to copy that just so I don't have any typos. We'll go back into our node -- Wednesday. And here we can go ahead and print out that string. And if you recall, when we are printing variables in the template, we only need the important part, the one that's actually indicating what type of, what's the name of the variable. When we're in template.php, however, we need to put it into the entire variables array. Okay, excellent. Let's see if that worked. We, first of all, are going to go back. We're going to refresh. It should still say it's Wednesday. Oh, it totally did. And you'll notice now it's lowercase. That's how I know it was definitely working. Our previous code made everything lowercase, so we can do some other things with PHP to say that we want to uppercase the very first letter in that word. But right now, I am extremely pleased. One last thing we want to do before we move on is when I wrote out my template for Wednesday, all I was printing was my special little comment. I think it's probably a good idea if we put back in the actual content. Because if you remember, when we create these templates, it blows away all previous templates and does not use them. So right now, on Wednesday, every time you look at a page, you're not actually going to see the content. In order to do that, we will go into our template, our node -- Wednesday, and just below where we're printing our special little phrase, we can go ahead and also print render content, and that will mean that all the normal content that was associated with this page will also display. While I'm here, I'll remove my KPR so it looks like we're in the final stages. Let's refresh. Okay, here we go. We've got our About Us node with our little line at the top and our page content displaying below. Now, I know our example was a little bit contrived, but there are actually some very practical use cases for even doing a conditional on the day of the week. Something that's very common is when you are developing a special promotional ad campaign that's going to start on the 27th and run through the 30th of the month. You can go ahead and create in your conditional where it says, if today's the 27th, 28th, 29th, or 30th, go ahead and use my new template suggestion. This allows you to, weeks in advance to create a new page template or for your specific content type. So you've got all that time planning, and it will automatically turn itself on when it needs to be on and turn itself off when it needs to go back to the original one. And you can create these theme suggestions in any of the preprocessed functions. So we were working with preprocessed node. You can create theme suggestions in preprocessed page or preprocessed block or preprocessed region, where you get to create your own customized, unique templates that are conditional and can get triggered whenever you want, whether it's a certain day of the week or just when you're looking at a specific block itself.